When you say Cuba is next,
Cuba.
is Cuba, whatever you do with the military there, it seems like something, will that look more like Iran or Venezuela?
Can't tell you that. I can tell you that they're talking to us. It's a failed nation. They have no money, they have no oil, they have no nothing. They have nice land. They have nice landscape, you know. It's a beautiful island. I think Cuba, I don't know, it's in its own way, for tourism and everything else, it's a beautiful island, great weather. They're not in a hurricane zone, which is nice for a change, you know. They won't be asking us for money for hurricanes every week. But I think Cuba's the end. You know, all my life I've been hearing about the United States and Cuba. When will the United States do it? I do believe I'll be having the honor of taking Cuba. That'd be good. That's a big honor.
Taking Cuba.
Taking Cuba in some form, yeah. Taking Cuba. I mean, whether I free it, take it, I think I could do anything I want with it. You want to know the truth? They're a very weakened nation right now.
When you say Cuba,
Shalom. First and foremost, I would like to give all honor, praises, and glory to Yahweh, Bahashem Yahweh Shai, Bahashem Rakakadash. In double honors and respect to the elders and apostles of Great Millstone for teaching me this truth, as well as much respect and honors to the brothers that are pushing this truth in sincerity across the four winds of this earth and risking their lives and freedom to do so. I would also like to give much honors and respect to the brothers and sisters that are of the hopeful elect, that are doing their very best to keep the laws, statutes, and commandments of the Most High to the best of their abilities. Shalom. As you saw and heard in this short video that I just shared with you, having DJ Donald Duck, he's pretty much talking about Cuba, and he was pretty much basically saying that Cuba is defeated. Okay, and that, he's, possibly, planning on taking over Cuba. Okay, you heard what he was saying. And so, and with that being said, Cuba, they're currently experiencing some, blackouts, okay, due to a shortage of fuel. Okay, they're experiencing an energy crisis right now. Okay, to where, they're having blackouts for extended periods of time, to where they don't have any electricity for extended periods of time. Okay, they got a shortage of fuel over there, and so therefore, people are having issues with transportation and whatnot. Okay, public transportation is being affected. Okay, also too, here it is, with the energy crisis over there, it's also affecting the food supply because with the shortage of fuel. Okay, you have these different trucks and everything like that supply these different markets over there. Okay, they're being affected because they're not able to run effectively. And so therefore there's food shortages over there in Cuba. Okay, and this is a result, of the U.S. Taking over Venezuela. I want to say that happened back in January, to where you had the U.S. They took over Venezuela and they took over the oil supply over there in Venezuela. Now, here it is. You had Cuba. Okay, they were getting oil, from Venezuela. But as a result of the U.S., now taking over Venezuela, Cuba, has not been able to get any, oil from Venezuela. And so, that's affecting Cuba, in a major way right now. Okay. Now, here it is. I want to say, now you heard what DJ Donald Duck said. He said Cuba is a poor country. And that's right. Okay. Cuba is a poor country because here it is. I want to say back in the early 60s, maybe 1962 or so. Okay, you had the U.S., it put sanctions on Cuba. Okay, and so with the U.S. putting sanctions on Cuba, that prevented Cuba from doing any trade and things like that. And so it pretty much, caused Cuba to pretty much just be starved out, to pretty much become a poor country and whatnot, because they're unable to do trade. And this is the result of the U.S. Okay, this is the result of these devils, doing that. Now, with that being said, these devils, they're pretty much, they're being exposed. Okay, people are coming to the realization of who the cancer of the earth is. And that cancer of the earth is Esau Edom, the self-proclaimed white man. And see, here it is, when these devils, when they can't have their way, okay, when they can't push their ways or their philosophies or their different policies off on other nations, when these other nations don't want to accept the American way of life, okay, what this devil will do is, they will pretty much try to cut that nation off or that country off from doing trade with other countries, which, pretty much starves that country out. and causes that country to become like a third world country. Okay, that's what these devils do. Or, when these devils, when they can't have their way, okay, with other nations, what they would do is they would try to start wars, okay, with these other nations and whatnot. They pretty much, go into the people's lands, blow up the lands, take over that country's resources and whatnot, and pretty much, make that country a wasteland pretty much. And then, they try to tell the people how to live and whatnot. That's how these devils get down. Okay. That's how Esau Edom gets down. And the whole world is coming to the realization of who the wicked is. And again, that wicked is Esau Edom. And these devils, they got to go. Okay. They have to go because again, the entire earth is in a weak and morning state because of these devils. Okay. Because they're unfit to rule. Esau Edom, he's currently in the power seat and he rules in wickedness. He rules in wickedness and he's unfit to rule. He's a base man, But again, this is why, you're having wars and rumors of wars. This is why you're having pestilences that are on the rise. Okay, this is why you're having, countries that are being starved out and whatnot. Okay, of resources and whatnot. Okay, because of these devils. Okay, ruling in wickedness. But with that being said, Esau, he doesn't have much longer in the power seat. His kingdom is literally falling right before our eyes. We are literally witnessing the downfall of Esau Edom and his kingdom. Because here it is right now, with the situation that's currently going on over there between the U.S., the state of Israel, and Iran. Okay, it's come out that the U.S. is getting its rear end kicked. Okay, the U.S. is losing miserably. And this is why, you heard DJ Donald Duck a couple of days ago. He was pretty much asking NATO for help, pretty much begging them, okay, for help, But NATO, they don't want any parts of it. Okay, and see, NATO is supposed to be allies with the U.S. Now, here it is. The U.S. allies are pretty much turning on the U.S. The U.S. allies are pretty much frowning at America because, and see, it come out that NATO was basically saying these other nations, okay, the U.S. allies was basically saying that the U.S. had no business going into that situation over there in Iran. Okay, but here it is. All of these other nations are beginning to turn on America. Even America's allies, okay, are turning on America. And so this place is not going to stand for much longer. Also, too, we're hearing about sleeper cells and things like that and possible attacks that could happen in any given moment over here in Babylon the Great. And so, again, with that being said, Israel, this is why you have to spiritually detach yourself from this place and return to the Father and His Son. And when I say Israel, I'm talking about you so-called blacks, Hispanics, Native Americans, and those that are of the speckled bird that look like these other nations, but you go back to Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob on your father's side. Now is the time to get right with the Lord Yahweh Bashim Abashai. Because again, this devil, he's getting ready to fall very soon. And those by people who don't want to come up out of the ways of Babylon the Great, those by people who just want to continue on in the wickedness and the folly that's being pushed out over here in Babylon the Great, they're going to fall over here in Babylon the Great, right along with these Edomites and the rest of these heathens over here. So again, this place is on life support and that plug is soon about to be pulled. And so now is the time to get right with the Lord Yahweh Bashim Abashai Israel, so that you can have that hedge of protection over you and so that you can be delivered and not left over here to be destroyed. And so what I'm going to go ahead on and do now is I'm going to bring out a couple of scriptures and then we will end the lesson. Okay, this is Isaiah and this is chapter 33 and this is verse 1. And it reads, Woe to thee that spoilest, and thou wast not spoiled, and dealest treacherously, and they dealt not treacherously with thee. When thou shalt cease to spoil, thou shalt be spoiled. And when thou shalt make an end to deal treacherously, they shall deal treacherously with thee. Okay, and see, this right here is talking about America, also known as Babylon the Great, because America has spoiled, many other nations, and America has dealt treacherously with other nations. Here it is, what America would do is America would go into other people's lands and countries. America will unalive, and take out, the leaders, of those lands and countries, and replace them with puppet leaders in order to gain access to that country's resources and whatnot. And see, here it is, as I had mentioned earlier, America recently took over Venezuela. Okay, and now, America is controlling the oil and the other resources over there in Venezuela. And as a result of America, controlling the oil, resources over there in Venezuela, is actually hurting Cuba because Cuba gets oil, or Cuba was getting oil from Venezuela. Okay, and see, speaking of Cuba, now you got this devil Esau. He's talking about, possibly trying to take over Cuba. Okay, and see, this devil, he's never satisfied. He's never satisfied. He's just always wanting more. He's always wanting more. But see, with that being said, the tables are about to turn very soon. Because, America, which is ran by Esau, the devil that the Bible speaks of, is about to reap what is sown. Because again, here it is, these other nations, they're already, are becoming angry, okay, with Babylon the Great. These other nations, they're threatening war, okay, with Babylon the Great. Let's read this again. This is Isaiah chapter 33 and verse 1 again. It says, woe to thee. And see, woe means destruction. It says, woe to thee that spoilest, and thou wast not spoiled, and dealest treacherously, and they dealt not treacherously with thee. When thou shalt cease to spoil, thou shalt be spoiled. And when thou shalt make an end to deal treacherously, they shall deal treacherously with thee. Okay, and see, here it is, these other nations such as China, Russia, North Korea, Iran, they're about to deal with America treacherously. And it's already beginning to happen because here it is, it's come out that America is losing big time over there with that situation that's currently going on between Iran, the state of Israel, in America, okay? It's come out that America is really losing it over there, okay? And see, here it is. You had DJ Donald Duck a couple of days ago. He was pretty much begging, okay, NATO to basically help him with that situation that's going on over there in Iran. But NATO, they said they didn't want no parts of it. And so, again, this is just showing you that, America's allies are beginning to turn on America. Because here it is, NATO has said that America had no business going over there, getting involved in that situation over there, in Iran. And again, America is losing miserably over there. But, and see, it's come out, they know that, it's been coming out that all of, America's military bases over there in that area are getting blown up. Okay. And also, too, here it is, you have China. It's come out that China has been giving Iran, weaponry and whatnot. And so, this place, America's done. Okay. America is on life support and that plug is soon about to be pulled. And, what's happening is ultimately the Lord Yahweh Shem Yahushua is putting the spirit on these other nations, to turn on Babylon the Great. Okay? That's what's happening. But again, this place is not going to stand for much longer. And see, once that, this devil mandates that MO to the T to the B, which is near, okay, because that MO to the T to the B is already here. It just hadn't been mandated as of yet, but you best believe very soon this devil, he's going to mandate that MO to the T to the B. And once he mandates it, World War III is going to go full blown. Okay? And, the Lord Yahweh Shem Yahushua is going to put the spirit on these other nations to fire their thermonuclear missiles upon America. Okay? Which is going to lead to the destruction of America and all these wicked people over here. Okay? Only the Lord's elect will be protected and will be delivered out of Babylon the Great before this place is ultimately destroyed. And Lord willing, we are that elect number. But again, this is why we stress repentance, Israel, so that you can be of the elect and so that you can have that hedge of protection over you and so that you can be delivered before this place is ultimately destroyed. I want to go to the book of Micah. This is Micah, and this is chapter 2, and I want to start in verse 1. And it reads, woe to them that devise iniquity and work evil upon their beds. When the morning is light, they practice it, because it is in the power of their hands. And see, woe means destruction. And so with that being said, this devil Esau has a great and terrible judgment coming to him very soon. Because this devil Esau, he's devising iniquity and works of evil. Because here it is, Esau, he's currently in the power seat. And so, this devil, he feels as though that he can get away with it. But this devil, he's not going to get away with it, okay? Because the Lord Yahweh Shem Yahushua is watching, okay? And the Lord Yahweh Shem Yahushua is going to bring this devil down, okay? Esau has a great and terrible judgment coming to him. Now, here it is, this devil Esau, as I had mentioned, he had went into Venezuela and he took their leader hostage, took over that country, and he took over that country's resources. Okay, and now here it is, this devil, he's talking about possibly trying to go and take over Cuba. Okay, and so here it is right now. He's currently trying to starve out Cuba by cutting off their means of getting oil and energy, to pretty much make that country weaker and even more vulnerable, than what they already are. Okay, and see that right there, that's devising iniquity and works of evil. And again, this devil Esau is going to have to pay for all of the crimes that he's committed. Thus says the Lord Yahweh Shem Yahushua. Okay, the Lord is going to soon destroy this wicked queen of Esau's okay, and strip this devil of his rulership. And again, we're literally witnessing the downfall of Esau, Edom, and his kingdom. We're at the end of this devil's rulership, okay? He doesn't have much longer in the power seat. He's getting ready to fall very soon. And once this devil falls, he's going to go into hardcore bondage for 1,000 years. And after that 1,000-year period of hardcore bondage is up, these devils are going to be eradicated off the face of the earth. Let's get the next verse. This is Micah chapter 2 and verse 2. And it reads, "And they covered fields, and take them by violence, and houses, and take them away. So they oppress a man and his house, even a man and his heritage." Okay, and see, this is how these devils get down. Okay, and see, here it is, speaking of this devil Esau, he stole America, okay, from the northern kingdom tribes, through violence, rape, robbery, and murder. Okay, and see, here it is, this devil Esau, what he'll do is he'll steal your land, okay, he'll oppress you in your own land, okay. And see, here it is, these devils, they want to sit up here and lie and say that the northern kingdom tribes, gave them this land, gave them America. And that's a bunch of BS, okay? These devils, they enslaved the northern kingdom tribes over here in America, and they deleted off many of the northern kingdom tribes, and then they brought over the southern kingdom tribes, over here to America, and they did the same thing to us, okay? These devils, they have oppressed, raped, robbed, and murdered our people. Okay, they robbed our people of our heritage. Okay, they gave us bywords and things such as black, Indian, Puerto Rican, Hispanic, and the list goes on. Okay, but these devils, they have a great and terrible judgment coming to them. Okay, because here it is, they go into other people's lands. Okay, blow up those people's lands. Take over the people's resources, oppress the people in their lands. Okay, pretty much, turn the lands into wastelands, and then they try to tell the people how to live and whatnot. This is how this devil gets down. Wherever this devil goes, okay, he brings nothing but confusion, disease, death, and destruction. He's a base man that's unfit to rule. But again, he doesn't have much longer in the power seat. His kingdom is literally falling right before our eyes, and it's going to fall very soon. Okay, this is Habakkuk, and this is chapter 2, and I want to start in verse 5. And it reads, "Ye also, because he transgressed by wine, he is a proud man, neither keepeth at home, who enlargeth his desires hell, and is as death, and cannot be satisfied, but gathereth unto him all nations, and heapeth unto him all people." Okay, it says, "Ye also, because he transgressed by wine, he is a proud man." Okay, and see, here it is, Esau, he's a very proud man. You heard how this devil, DJ Donald Duck, was speaking in this video that I shared in the beginning of this lesson. He was speaking all proudly and whatnot. You heard what he said. He said that he may, take over Cuba, okay, because he was saying, pretty much Cuba is defeated. That's what he was saying, okay. It says, because he transgressed by wine. Okay, and see, here it is, what these devils do is, they push out all types of wicked philosophies and enchantments and whatnot. That's got a lot of these people's minds all messed up. Okay, here it is. These devils, what they'll do is they'll even go into other people's lands and push these wicked enchantments and philosophies on the people, in these other lands and countries. And a lot of these countries that have taken on the American way of life, it actually made them worse off. Because a lot of these countries that have taken on these different enchantments and philosophies that this devil Esau pushes out, as a result of that, these other countries that have taken on the American way of life now have moles in their land. Okay, their women have become thoughts and rebellious towards the men. Okay, these other countries that have taken on the American way of life have all types of pestilences and diseases and things like that on the rise. Okay, it made these other countries worse off. Taking on the American way of life actually made these other countries worse off. Okay, and see, here it is. I mean, when these other countries don't want to follow the American way of life, what Esau would do is he would try to basically, like how he's done with Cuba, he would try to basically, starve the country out, by, keeping them from, trading and things like that. Basically try to make the country, impoverished and whatnot. Or what he would do is he would try to start wars with them, so that he can go into those countries and blow them up and take over the resources, take over the lands and take over the, and control the people and whatnot. That's what this devil will do. Okay. Verse 5 again, it says, he is a proud man, neither keepeth at home. It says, who enlargeth his desires hell. Okay, because this devil, hey, he doesn't keep it home. Okay, here it is. He's got all types of military bases in other countries and whatnot. Okay, here it is. He tries to take over other people's lands and whatnot, as I had mentioned. You know, it says, who enlargeth his desires hell, because this devil, he wants to control the entire earth. Okay, he wants to control other people's lands. He wants to control the people. He wants to control the resources. It says, and is as death, because that's what this devil brings. Okay, he brings nothing but confusion, disease, death, and destruction wherever he goes, because he rules in wickedness. Okay, it says he cannot be satisfied. Okay, now Esau, he can't be satisfied. Okay, he can't be satisfied. This devil, he has to be in control of all things. Okay, as I had mentioned, he wants to take over other people's lands. He wants to take control of the people's resources. Okay, this devil, he wants to enslave the entire planet. Okay, which is going to lead to this devil coming down very soon and trying to force everyone to get that MO to the T to the B. And that MO to the T to the B is already here. And very soon, these devils, they're going to mandate it. And they're going to try to force everyone to get that. And with that being said, Israel, if you allow this devil to violate you with that MO to the T to the B, the Lord Yahweh Shem Abashai is going to destroy you. Okay? It says, but he gathered unto him all nations and heaped unto him all people. Okay, again, this devil, he wants to control all the lands. He wants to control the people. He wants to enslave the entire planet. Okay. Verse 6, Habakkuk chapter 2 and verse 6, it says, shall not all these take up a parable against him and a taunting proverb against him and say, woe to him that increaseth that which is not his? How long? And to him that ladeth himself with thick clay. Okay, and see, here it is now. All these other nations, they're beginning to come together. Okay, and they're beginning to band together, and come against this devil, because these other nations are coming to the realization that Esau, Edom, the self-proclaimed white man, starting with these elite bankers, is the cancer of the earth. And this devil has to be stopped. Okay. Verse 6 again, it says, woe to him that increaseth that which is not his. It says, how long? Okay, and see, here it is. What this devil will do is, he goes into other people's countries and lands, and he robs them of their oil and their resources. Okay, and then he tries to say that all of these things belong to him when they don't belong to him. Okay, this devil has a great and terrible judgment coming to him very soon because of all the crimes and the wickedness that he has done. Okay, destruction is coming to Esau, Edom, and his rulership. It says, and I'm still in verse 6 again. It says, and to him that ladeth himself with thick clay. Okay, and see that thick clay, that's talking about death. Okay, because America, also known as Babylon the Great, is in great debt. Okay, I want to say America is close to almost $40 trillion in debt. Okay, and see, and with that being said, these devils, they know that they can't pay that back. And so, that's why these devils are making all of these different hasty and foolish moves and whatnot. Such as, robbing other countries of their resources and whatnot. Starting wars with other countries and whatnot. Here it is, these devils, they're trying to depopulate, okay, and delete off a bunch of people. This is why these devils, they're defiling everything from the food to the air to the water. Okay, these devils, during that sea scamdemic, they came out with that Beetlejuice for that sea scamdemic. Okay, basically trying to delete off a bunch of people. Because, these devils, they have a lot of debt, okay, that they owe. Okay, and see, here it is, that debt, that thick clay, that debt that these devils owe, some of that consists of pensions and retirements and things like that that's owed to people. And these devils, they don't want to pay it back. Verse 7, it says, shall they not rise up suddenly that shall bite thee, and awake that shall vex thee, and thou shalt be for booties unto thee? Okay, and see, here it is, we're hearing about these other nations, they're turning on America, and even threatening war with America. Okay, you even got the situation that's currently going on over there right now, okay, to where you're having America is pretty much getting its rear end kicked over there in Iran. Okay, and here it is, we're hearing about even America's allies, okay, are beginning to turn on America, because here it is, America's allies said that they don't want no parts of that, that situation that's currently going on over there between America, the state of Israel, and Iran. Okay, and these America's allies even said that America had no business going over there doing what basically starting war with Iran. Okay, but again, here it is, we're hearing about these other nations, okay, they're threatening war with America, and we're hearing about even America's allies are beginning to turn on America. And very soon, the Lord Yahweh Shem Abashai is going to put the spirit on these other nations to go to war with America. And it's not going to end well for America.
Habakkuk chapter 2 and verse 8. It says, because thou hast spoiled many nations, all the remnant of the people shall spoil thee, because of men's blood, and for the violence of the land, of the city, and of all that dwell therein. Okay, and so, for all of the violence, rape, robbery, and murder, that these devils have done, here it is, these devils that go into other people's lands, as I had mentioned, blow them up, take over the people's lands and resources and whatnot, and then try to tell the people how to live. These devils, they have a great and terrible judgment coming to them very soon, thus says the Lord. Okay? For all the crime and violence that they have done. Esau and his kingdom is about to fall very soon. This devil has a great and terrible judgment coming to him. Thus says the Lord Yahweh B'Shem Abishai. I want to end off here at verse 9. This is Habakkuk chapter 2 and verse 9. It says, woe to him that covered an evil covetousness to his house, that he may set his nest on high, that he may be delivered from the power of evil. Okay, and see, this devil Esau, has gained all of his wealth, dishonestly, okay, through violence, rape, robbery, and murder. And because of how, this devil has gained, his wealth, through unrighteous dealings, Esau has a great and terrible judgment coming to him. Okay? And see, the Lord is putting the spirit on these other nations to get angry with America. And very soon the Lord is going to unleash these other nations upon Babylon the Great, which is going to lead to the destruction of Babylon the Great and all these wicked people over here. It's going to lead to the destruction of Babylon the Great and the downfall of Esau Edom. And so, with that being said, Israel, now is the time to get right with the Lord Yahweh B'Shem Abishai, because, again, America is not going to stand for much longer. And, now is the time to repent, okay? So that you can have that hedge of protection of you. Because, again, the Lord is going to protect and deliver his elect. And Lord willing, we are that elect number. And so I'm going to go ahead and end off here. I hope it was edifying. Once again, I want to give all honor, praises, and glory to Yahweh, Bahashem Yahweh Shai, and double honors and respect to the elders and apostles of Great Millstone, Kwam Yasharal and Abba Baba. Shalom.